Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Gwei Refuel, where I recap the latest news in the Ethereum ecosystem. I'm your host, Anthony Sassano, and today is the 9th of December 2020. Let's get right into it for today, everyone. So, I spoke a lot yesterday about a lot of these kind of regulatory rumors that are going on with regards to, centralized crypto exchanges. People are kind of thinking they're going to put in some new rules that basically, ban you from withdrawing to your own wallet and things like that from these exchanges. I mentioned yesterday how I didn't think they're going to go that far, at least in the US. But then this kind of news came out yesterday around France, and apparently France is, as you can see on the headline here, they're on the verge of imposing mandatory KYC rules for all crypto transactions. Which is pretty bad, right? That's taking it to like the extremes here. So basically, what it would mean, and if we go through the article here, let's start with the reason they're doing this. So they cite that the main reason for these stricter measures are the recent terrorist attacks in France. And I'm like, okay, this is always the case when they're introducing some unpopular regulations, right? They'll slap a label on it. They'll be like, okay, it's terrorists, it's to prevent terrorism, it's like to prevent money laundering, it's to save the children, right? You put some of that stuff on it and people are just like, oh, this must be a good regulations because it's trying to protect, the children, or it's trying to stop terrorism. And it's always the same thing where these kind of excuses, I guess, or reasoning is given that doesn't really make much sense, to just put these really stringent regulations in. And usually it's because of another reason that they don't want to tell you. Usually it's just because governments love to control things, right? Or maybe there's a player that's bigger that wants this in place to kind of like stifle the growth of a certain industry. I wouldn't put it past banks wanting to stifle the growth of Ethereum and DeFi. If they're at that point, I don't think they're at that point yet. I don't think they really care about what we're doing yet because it's so early. But this is just, this is not great. What this would do is it basically would, let's read through here. It would basically require crypto firms to harden their KYC on their exchange, which you already see, right? You already do have to do KYC on pretty much every centralized exchange. I think Binance still lets you kind of do 2 BTC a day withdrawal without KYC, but they're not based in the US or anything like that. They're not based, I guess they're not even based in Europe, right? They're based like, no one really knows where they're based. It's speculated that they're in the Cayman Islands and things like that, but the exchanges that are fully regulated in like the US, in Europe, in Australia where I am and things like that, they already all do KYC. You can't even buy any crypto or do anything without KYC. But this kind of new regulations, or I guess like new rules, would make it would harden this KYC stuff, but it would also regulate crypto to crypto transactions. Now, I don't know. I mean, there's not that many details here, but I don't know like how they would police this. Like, which crypto to crypto transactions? Is it if you're trading ETH to Bitcoin or Bitcoin to ETH or whatever on a centralized exchange, they're going to basically require you to, I don't know, do KYC again or give your reasoning for making that trade or whatever. Or are they going to try and regulate? Say you withdraw Ethereum to your own address, are they going to monitor you and see what you're doing and see how you're trading that on a decentralized exchange? Obviously, that's like very hard to police, if not impossible. And it also doesn't make much sense because why is the centralized exchange now, just because I bought ETH on there, why are they now liable to track me when I've taken it off their exchange, right? I'm kind of out of their world. So I don't know what kind of this is about. If I had to guess, I had to assume it would be about just crypto to crypto within a centralized exchange. But again, that's already tracked by a lot of exchanges, right? That's already, all the records are there. So I don't know what more the exchanges can do here. But yeah, a bit of ominous news out of France here. I mean, there's the full article here you can go read. There's probably some more details in here. I won't read through the whole thing on the video, but I mean, they mention here the full KYC of all crypto transactions means that all crypto exchanges and other firms will have to verify their customers irrespective of transaction size. I mean, that's already done in a lot of places. Maybe in France that's not the case. I don't know. And apparently mandatory registration will be put in place for crypto to crypto exchanges. I mean, I don't know, maybe they just don't have these regulations in place. They definitely do in Australia already. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep tabs on that. And there's still those rumors about the US introducing these new regulations as well. I was talking to a bunch of people about that today, and people are on the fence. I was basically of the opinion that just like we're just speculating. We don't actually know. And if you make trading decisions based on this stuff, then that's your choice. But I personally am not. I'm not selling crypto in anticipation of some unfavorable regulations being put in place, right? It's a huge risk. I'd incur tax events, right? You have to think about all these things, and is the risk kind of worth it? Based on just some rumors. And for me, it's not. But maybe for you, it is. Maybe you want to take some risk off the table as well, regardless of what tax you would owe if you did so. So, yeah, something to keep in mind. As I said yesterday as well, I'll be keeping an eye on this and keeping you guys updated with it all. All right, so for those of you that haven't staked your ETH yet and that don't want to kind of do it on your own, you want to use a third-party staking provider, there's a new website called stakingether.com that basically has a list of all the, I guess, staking providers, or at least known staking providers, and will give you a quick rundown of like how much you'll earn, kind of like I think net of fees. So basically, you have like Bitcoin Suisse here, which is a big player. Coinbase, Binance Staking, there's a bunch here, right? Bison Trails, and you can click through, and then it'll give you. I think it'll either take you to the website, or maybe nothing happens when I click. Oh, there we go, it loaded. Yeah, so it'll basically let you stake directly through here on this site. So if you put in 1,000 USD, okay, I won't let you stake on the site. It's got a calculator, sorry. So if you put in like, you want to stake 10,000 USD, it'll tell you what your daily earning will be, what your monthly earning and yearly earning will be, based on the current rate. And if you want to stake, you click stake now, it'll take you to the website. So it's just a good little website to compare the different solutions out there, see what fees you'd be paying, all this sort of stuff. And, I know these services are going to be very popular with people that don't have the minimum 32 ETH, because if you don't have the minimum, you can't stake on your own yet. Like Rocket Pool's listed here, but Rocket Pool, as far as I know, isn't live just yet. And it's probably not going to be live for a little while still. So yeah, if you're itching to stake and you don't have 32 ETH, and you want to do it right now, it's perfect to go on this website and choose which provider you want to go with. I'm not going to recommend any myself because I haven't done due diligence on all of them. I'm familiar with some of them, but I'm not going to give you my own, personal recommendation here. But I will tell you that make sure that you realize that if you do this, there's a higher risk of you losing your ETH, either due to an exit scam or the staking provider messing up and getting you slashed, or things like that. That's happened in the past. So be very careful. Make sure you kind of select the trusted brand and do your research before going into it. Don't just like FOMO in, so to speak. All right, Ben Edgington put out an update about his What's New in ETH2 newsletter today. So for those who don't know, this is the single best newsletter in the entire Ethereum space for keeping up with ETH2. And it's available at eth2.news. Ben does the best job out of anyone that I've seen of summarizing everything that's happening within the Ethereum 2 space and making sure that you're on top of it. Basically, he posted a short update today saying that he had people come up to him and want to sponsor the newsletter, and this is how you can do so. Like if you want to advertise in the newsletter, you make a payment to him of 1.25 ETH for a max of 80 characters, or 2.5 ETH for 180 characters, and then you can basically advertise on there. Now, this isn't an endorsement or anything, and I'm not trying to like advertise his advertising, for example, but I just wanted to give a shout out here because he says here his newsletter is viewed by between 3,000 and 10,000 people. Gets that many impressions per issue, which is usually every 1 to 2 weeks. It's just an amazing newsletter. He's done it for free for so long now. So I do hope that he gets paid for his ongoing work here. It's extremely valuable work. He's also got a Gitcoin grant, so definitely go check that out as well to support him. So I think that, if you are interested in advertising in a very Ethereum or Ethereum 2.0 kind of, world or readership, I think this is the best place to do it. So just wanted to give a quick shout out to Ben there. All right, Owoki from Gitcoin, so Gitcoin's founder, posted a little, I guess, picture today, basically discussing that Gitcoin Grants is going kind of non-custodial, going towards this kind of progressive decentralization route. So at the moment, Gitcoin Grants is quite centralized in a lot of different aspects, but they want to move towards this kind of progressive decentralization over time. So they started with like a multi-sig for the funds, for like the matching funds for the grant, so that it's not just Gitcoin that controls all the matching funds. I'm on the multi-sig along with a bunch of other people in the community like David Hoffman and Eric Connor and Hudson Jameson. So we're on that with the ETH and some DeFi protocol kind of owners as well. So that was like the first step. They want to move on to like kind of the next steps now, where you can see on the I guess the chart here that we have like during the round, like before the round with multi-sig, during the round and after round, and distributing the kind of the money out to the grant owners and stuff like that. But what is kind of non-custodial right now is like the direct donation. So when someone makes a donation to you, it goes directly to your Ethereum account. Whereas on layer 1 or layer 2, whereas as I mentioned, like the matching funds are still kind of like behind, these kind of multi-sig and things like that, and there's still KYC as well for a lot of these things. I don't know if they're going to be able to get around KYC for a while. If you have a grant and you are due, owed some money from the matching, you need to do KYC. And that's just like because they're based in the US and there's all regulations and laws around that. So yeah, this is really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing this go forward, Gitcoin to decentralize more. Obviously, I think that Gitcoin being as important as it is needs to embrace, I guess, embody the ideals of decentralization within our ecosystem. And I think they're perfectly positioned to do so. They're going to get so much support from so many different people no matter what they do. Maybe, I don't know, I'm just speculating here. Maybe one day they launch a governance token, right? That could happen. And I think that they would have the best distribution ever, because you just distribute that governance token, you kind of airdrop it to frequent users of Gitcoin, right? And people that have donated during all the rounds, and you kind of have like, I guess, like, you're not just airdropping it to random people, you're airdropping it to people who have actually used your kind of used the platform. And also you can kind of airdrop more to people that have used it more frequently, and to people that have donated more. So I actually think that a token for Gitcoin makes a lot of sense as a governance token. And I really, maybe they'll do it, maybe they won't. I don't know if they will or not. But it makes the most sense out of like probably any project that I know of, because you have a passionate set of holders immediately, which would be really cool. But yeah, go check this out. I'll link it in the show notes, of course, and go give it a look, and definitely give feedback to Owoki if you have some, because he's always looking for feedback here. He's great. He always takes any feedback I send him on board. He never tries to, never dismisses it, never gets upset, right? Even when I'm bugging him about like UI glitches and things like that on the website. So he's great. So definitely go, message him, or just tweet at him if you have any ideas around this. All right, an update out of the Foam project today. So this project's been around for quite a while. If I had to kind of think back, I think it was around in 2017. But they've been quietly building for quite a while. So for those who don't know, Foam, I guess they're trying to do a bunch of different things. If I had to simplify it, I mean, their original goal was like decentralized kind of positioning systems, aka decentralized GPS. But I think they've moved even beyond that, and they're basically trying to decentralize like the hardware layer of these networks. So as you can see in their blog post or their update today, they've kind of made this thing called a Ethereum transaction relay network, where you could basically have this little device called the Foam Light, which is a general purpose Ethereum radio relay node that anyone can build today to accelerate the use cases in Internet of Things. So basically having like, I guess, your own node that doesn't rely on, I guess, maybe the internet or like, centralized kind of networking and hardware to coordinate with the Ethereum network. It's funny because I'm thinking of like, right now I'm thinking of Bitcoin, and the company Blockstream likes to talk about this satellite that they launched into space, where you can actually relay your Bitcoin transactions off the satellite. Now, I actually think that's quite cool, right? And I would like to see more research done into this area and developments done into this area, because if we make these networks, right, and you make them super decentralized, but then we have all these endpoints like the ISPs and the data centers and all this. If they're all like centralized still, then there's bottlenecks there, right? And then if a kind of motivated nation state can possibly take down a network or parts of a network or parts of how it's working, very easily. So yeah, cool to see Foam still building out things here. As I said, an old project, but still building. There's a lot of these out there that you see updates from time to time. And yeah, I mean, as I said, I've followed this for quite a while now, and I think what they're building is going to be useful. It's one of those things where it's like super early, right? This is stuff that's like bleeding edge stuff that and hardware is much harder to adopt than software, because it's physical, and software just can disseminate a lot easier, right? You can just download an app on your phone as soon as someone releases it. But with hardware, it's a lot harder to scale it up, as opposed to software, unless you're already a hardware manufacturer like Apple, for example, that already has that supply chain in place and that demand in place. It's a lot harder for new entrants to do this. So yeah, keen to see what else Foam bring out in the future. Interesting tweet from Eric Connor today about the ETH2 deposit contract. So at the moment, it's adding 40,000 ETH per day. So basically, you could say it's eating 40,000 ETH per day. And I wrote more about this in the Daily Gwei newsletter. So if you want to go get more context around it, definitely go read that one from today. But basically, what I wanted to focus on here is that, I think at this point we're at 1.2 million or over 1.2 million ETH staked. And I've mentioned how I expect that number to keep going up. I don't know if it's going to keep going up by 40,000 a day, right? You don't know. Like, you really don't. But, Eric notes here that if this pace continues, there'll be 15 million ETH in the contract this time next year. So in a year's time. Now, I don't think this pace is going to continue. I think we're going to slow down over time. I think, we might get to a few million faster than we think, but 15 million ETH is it's a huge chunk of the active kind of supply, or like general supply. I guess it's, if I had to do some napkin math in my head, 12 or 13% of the supply or something. If we got that, that'd be amazing. But again, that's a lot of the supply. I don't know if that's going to be sent across, especially in phase 0 where it's basically locked. But it remains to be seen how that plays out. But still, interesting stat to keep an eye on and see if this kind of falls over time. As I said, I fully expect it to fall. I don't expect 40,000 ETH per day to flow in, but still good. Something cool to keep an eye on. All right, an interesting tweet thread from Ross Middleton of Diversify. I think he put this out late last night after the other Daily Gwei Refuel. So he gave a quick update / summary of the top algorithmic stablecoins, elastic assets, and rebase token projects. So he lists 6 here. People will know about Ampleforth already, Yam, Based, and there's a few newer ones: a Basis Cash, Empty Set Dollar, and Dynamic Set Dollar that have come out. And he basically gives a really nice breakdown here of each of them in the thread. I won't read through the whole thing. I think there's other ones as well. This person mentions Dollar Protocol. This person mentions Dig. I mean, there's so many of these experiments playing out, and these rebase coins are quite funny. I actually refer to rebase tokens as bull market assets, because they kind of Ponzi-ish, right? They require fresh new people buying into it in order for the rebases to happen. Like, for example, Ample and Yam need to be over $1 for the rebase to happen, for a positive rebase to happen. And that it's hard to do that when, for those who aren't familiar with the rebasing mechanism, basically, it rebases, tries to get back to $1, and then people that see that, right, and that are holding it, they might see that and be like, oh, I've lost value. But what's really happened is that the tokens that they're holding have actually gone up because of the rebasing mechanism. Now, the reason I say they're bull market assets is because unless there's like fresh new buyers coming in, these rebases don't happen. The whole mechanism doesn't work, and you don't really get any gains from this. And it actually death spirals the other way, where it goes into negative rebase territory and you're losing a lot of money. And I don't think like, funds and stuff are buying up these things, right? They're very dangerous. I don't think that, institutions are buying up these things. I think it's normally retail investors that are doing this, right? Just everyday investors trying to make a buck. So that's why, I think these things will be more popular in like a retail mania, or like a little, like what we saw in DeFi summer with like a little mini bull market within these things. Like Ampleforth went crazy, but now it's like, after it went up crazily, it went down crazily as well. So yeah, good to keep an eye on these projects. I think there's something here. I just think that we need to run all these experiments basically to get to that something, right? And it's going to take a while. People are going to lose money. People are going to make money. Yeah, it's the same with everything in DeFi right now in terms of experimentation. So pretty cool to see all these projects. Do note that if you decide to put your money into them, it is very likely you will lose money because these things are extremely volatile, more volatile than normal crypto assets. So do your research before, playing around with these things at all. I implore you to do that, because I've seen a lot of people, just go into it and they're like, okay, why do I have less tokens than what I had? And that's because a negative rebase happened and they weren't aware of that. So it's quite scary when you see that, right? As a user, you see your tokens have gone down, which means you've lost money and you don't know why. So definitely, do your due diligence there. All right, last thing to talk about is this from Dharma. So Dharma has an app called the Dharma mobile app, where they let you buy crypto directly from your bank account up to $25,000 per week. This isn't available in many jurisdictions in the US. They just added Illinois today, but it's only available in a few other jurisdictions. But this is really cool because it basically allows people that are really new to crypto to buy assets off of Uniswap up to 25K per week, which is a pretty big limit. And it makes the buying process really easy for these people. So just cool to see Dharma like expanding this to other states. I'm sure it's hard for them given the regulatory kind of landscape in the US right now. So I'm sure they're going to keep working on it and keep getting more states added here. But yeah, cool to see that. Just more ways to access crypto, right? And more ways to access it and bypass the centralized exchanges, which are kind of gatekeepers in that they won't list a lot of these assets. So Dharma giving people a way to access it really easily is really great. So props to Dharma for that. All right, everyone, that's it for this today's Daily Gwei Refuel. Thank you again for watching or listening. Definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Give the video a thumbs up, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks, everyone.